Hi, I'm Lazze and I'm teaching people on metal shaping, and we are back here with the tips and tricks in the bead roller again. And in this video I'm going to show you the advantage of having the machine with adjustable shaft in and out 1.5 inch. It's one thing to talk about it, but in this video I'm going to actually show you what the advantage is to have an adjustable shaft. In this case, I put in one of the dies that we're using to make the flames. I put that in on the top, and then I have a radius on the bottom. And normally, if you have a bead roller, hand cranked one or so, you don't think you can use those together. But with the adjustable shaft, I can do that. So I'm going to run one little piece here so you can see what profile we're going to end up with here. So I go in there a little bit, and then I go just a little bit deeper down. Okay, so here you can see that this is almost in the center. So that means that we got a V profile, okay? If I adjust this one now, so I adjust the shaft and move it out so it's almost, I have almost like the thickness of the metal between there. That's all I have between. And then I'm going to run one more so we can see the difference between those two. So there you can see the profile here. And now you see that it's actually offset. So it's still a V profile, but one side is longer and the other one is shorter and deeper. So who knows what you're going to use that for, but for door inner panels or floor panels or whatever. Just think outside the box what you can do with this. I'm going to switch the dies over to another profile so you can see how quick we can change that as well. So you see those two dies here that I put together, you can see that normally you don't think you even can use those two together, but you can. Because I can set this in the center, so I just lose the shaft and go out, hold it down and go down to it lined up there with the bottom die. So very quick you can have new profiles. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to so you see we still have a round profile from the top die, but the width is from the bottom die, and that's how I can get that profile there. And what I'm going to do here now, it's so with this type of profile, I can get it very, very and if I want, I can slow down the speed here now, so I can go really, really, really slow. And I recommend to set the machines so with the speed so you feel comfortable with the machine. So this is very quick done, and I can set so many different dies. More narrow in the top here, and a little wider or a little narrow on the bottom. And I can have so many different profiles so quick, in a few seconds or a couple of minutes, and I can have a new profile on a test piece before you do it on the piece that you have maybe worked on. And that's another thing that I recommend you to do, that always when you change the dies, do a test piece before you run the final piece, so you are sure that you got the right profile. And you can test that out in the bead roller until you find the profile. So in my classes, the hands-on classes, I always, every class, some student, they have a question about the profile, if we can do that. And I'm thinking about what dies could be possible to use for that. And I do a test piece, and then I see, okay, we are close there, but I want a little more round, and I can change either one of the dies, and I can do a new test piece, and then I'm ready to go. When I do a test piece, don't take just a small strip, because it's going to bend a little different, and it's going to do some distortions. So I recommend that you have a maybe 10 by 12 inches and run a test piece there in the middle, so you can see actually the final profile. If it's just a little strip, it can make some distortion, and it's not the right profile that the dies actually do. It bends it when you run it through the bead roller. What's important when you either build your bead roller or if you have a bead roller, but to have it electrical it's very important, I think, to keep control. To having a hand cranked one and you have a handle or a big wheel here, it's very difficult to use the bead roller that way. And you can find a motor or a gearbox or stuff like that, so you can get that some used one if you find that on a wrecking yard or something like that. This bead roller has adjustable shaft in and out 1.5 inch, which is very important when you can mix match many different dies, and you can mix match them so you can have thousands of different profiles. But if you don't have any adjustments in and out here, you're set with one pair of dies, and you can just run that bead. But with this adjustment, I can adjust it to so many different beads, and I can do a test piece and see if it's the profile I want, and if it's not the profile I want, I can just change one die or change both one. So it's very, very good to have this adjustable. On this machine, I have a variable speed, so I can set the speed here on the speed control. I prefer to have it like that, because if I have the variable speed on the foot pedal, if I'm in a critical area and do some really tricky stuff, I can set the speed before, and I can just go very, very, very slow on the panel. So that's what I recommend, and this one go down to almost 0. You see it's go very, 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 very slow now. And if you draw a line, you can follow that line very good. This one go up to about 17 RPM as well if I want. So if I have a big panel like a door skin and we do the belt line on the door skin, then I can go faster if I want. Always stand in the bead roller so you stand comfortable when you're standing up and going to do the job. And I also recommend that you're standing on the side where you're feeding the panel into the machine. Never stand on the side that comes out, because you are not going to see where the dice goes if you follow the line, or if you go against the guide, you losing control there, you can't see it. So always stand on the side that goes into the machine. You can stand on this side, that's fine, but you need to feed it that direction instead. So whatever side you prefer to stay on, but that's the way, the direction you're feeding it into the machine. For some reason, I like to just stand on this side, but I can work on the other side as well. So what I'm going to do here now, I'm using a flat bottom die, and I'm going to show you the guide in the bead roller here. Now you can see that I set the guide here, and I'm using a pretty sharp one on the top. It's not 100% sharp, so it has a little radius, and the flat one on the bottom. And what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to bend this flange, and this is just a sample that we did in an earlier video. So in this case, I can turn the dies together light, so they're touching together, and then the machine flexing the rest. And then I can lift it up like this. So you see it touching here now, a little before the center of the shaft. That's where it's touching. It's not touching out here in the end of the guide. It's touching a little before the shaft. Then I know that the die always trying to go into the panel. So that I lift maybe 20 degrees. Next time I'm lifting it up a little more and checking the same spot again. And next time I'm lifting up a little more. And take it in about 4 steps to maybe 5 steps to get it up to 90. If you try to bend maybe 10 in the beginning of the panel, let's say 10 degrees here, and then you're bending it when you go through the machine, you're bending it up to almost 90 in the end, you're going to get lots of wrinkles and you're going to lose control to the guide. So that's why that doesn't work. So take my advice here and do it several steps up to 90 and you're good. So now I'm actually up all the way, so the die actually touching on the side here. So now it's a little wavy like that because this was cut as an outer curve. And an outer curve, when we bend that, is still too long. We didn't stretch it, we didn't shrink it. It's still too long, so that's why we got this curve. If you want this to be straight again, we need to go in and shrink this. So that's one thing in the bead roller that you need to think about, that you always stay on the side that goes into the machine so you have control over what you do. And that's what I'm teaching. I'm teaching people to take control over a flat piece of sheet metal. And what you can do, you can cut, bend, shrink, and stretch. That's those 4 elements we're dealing with. When you understand what happens when we using one or more of those 4 elements in a combination, you have control over the metal. And that's what I'm teaching. And if you have control over the metal, that means that it's up in your mind what you would like to do with it. So if you want more information about the hands-on classes or the video or the books, go to my website, www.lazzemetalshaping.com. See you there. Thank you.